we're going to be locating our schedule here in the title block here, but very often schedules are a lot, not always, but often are larger than what will fit in a title block. So, you know, this sheet might be shifted over to the left and the whole schedule might be here on the right side of your sheet. Or you might have a separate sheet completely devoted to schedules. So don't think that just because we're going to neatly fit our schedule into this title block, that's always going to be the case. You know, whether you're working for a firm or yourself, or even in future classes at COD. So we're going to create our schedule in model space, or in black model space. So I'm going to switch over to model space, and I'm just going to put the schedule somewhere around here. And I'm going to what I need is you know what I need to do is open up a better drawing here. Bear with me here. Let's see. Let's see if I have everything on this one. All right, this one's more finished. Okay, so so I'm going to show this. This will be a lighting legend, and I'm going to show all the lighting over here. And what I need is one example of each type of lighting on the for the project. So I've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy over. What have I got here? This. Sure if I grab the sconce or not. I'm just gonna not move, but copy them over here.
Paul, did you copy? Would the exterior sconces be different than the interior sconces?
What we are doing is we're showing the sconce, and then if you remember, there was this whole question is what these letters were. So this signifier here identifies it as an exterior sconce. So in the lighting legend, we'll have you know, I think there's a C here. There should be a C here for that sconce and an E here for the exterior sconce. So we'll identify them by letter in the schedule, but
Okay.
or in the legend, but we don't need to have a separate, you know, symbol for each one. All right, so I'm going to line these up as best as I can. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a guideline here, and I'll start from the center of that sconce, my ortho, so that my sconces sort of line up and it looks a little neater than them just sort of, you know, sitting around here. All right. So they're my first four, and I'm gonna put a title on this legend, and I'm gonna call it Cleverly Lighting Legend. And I'm just gonna go to annotate. And by the way, I'm going to do my whole legend on my electrical layer. So I'll move over to annotate, and I want my my lighting legend to be 3/16. That is a bigger text height. And I'm just going to do single line text. Choose a point, hit 0, and I will call this lighting legend. And I'm doing it all in caps. And then I will switch to 3/32, which is a smaller text. can do single line, and I'm going to do a bunch of single lines just right here, and then we'll move them into place. So I'll just start here, and I'm going to watch me type now. Caps lock on. Mounted at 78 inches, AFF. Does anyone know what AFF is?
Above floor finish.
Above finished floor. That's correct. Very good. And by the way, a cool thing about the newer versions of AutoCAD, which is what we're using here, is that, you know, if I misspell incandescent, I get the little red line underneath signaling that I've misspelled it. So that's nice. I can get my spelling correct, even though I still screw up sometimes. With Edison. 72 inches above finished floor. The last one is an LED adjustable mono point. Pitch light. Mounted at 4 inches. Now, the reason I used single line text here, especially when I have some text that you know belongs on 2 lines here, these 2 lines of text belong together, and I didn't use multi-line text, is because multi-line text sort of sets the distance between the rows, and because I don't have a lot of space here, I'm going to want to squeeze some of this text a little bit so that it is you know, a little tighter, so it will all fit on my legend here. So I'm going to rotate this fixture. Move it up. So this is pretty much eyeballing. I'm trying to center the fixture on the top line of text. Here again, I just want to squeeze some of these lines of text up a little bit. And I'm doing this with my ortho on so that, you know, everything sort of stays left justified.
Paul, was that text 3/32?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
We're doing this in 3/32. Okay, so there's my first line of text, or my first row or column, I guess. And I've got that surface mounted fixture. Move that over and I will rotate it. I'll rotate bath bar also.
Can I ask a question, Paul?
Yes, please.
Up at the top where it says 3/32, and then underneath it says fine text. When I change to 330 seconds, see where there's the little A in a box? Mine still stays at 3/16. And when I do the drop down, it doesn't give me an option for 330 seconds.
Are you using the template?
Yep.
So I'm not here. I'm not adjusting this. I'm adjusting this, the top here, the
Yep.
text style.
That's what I'm doing.
So when I click on it, you don't have 330 seconds.
It stays on 3/16 on the third line down. I do have that. So when I click that, the top right where the ABC check mark is says 330 seconds. So click on that, but then if you go down 2 lines right there, that stays at 3/16. And that's how my font comes out at 3/16. And it doesn't, I can't do, when I drop down, it still stays at 3/16.
Okay, let's look at that later on. All right.
Okay.
Because that needs to be resolved. I'm not sure what the answer to that is.
Okay.
I need a little piece of my tape light. I remember this, I think, is a common thing that happens in every office. People tend to move a fixture rather than copy it. So that when they're moving it to the legend, so make sure that you're copying it. And we have our ceiling fan that we have in the powder room. There, good. And now let's just add some text here. Again, I'm on 330 seconds, and I'm going to choose single line. Let's just zoom in so I can see a little better. Wraparound lens. You all know what a wraparound lens is? You know, sometimes you'll have a surface mounted fixture where the lens is just on the bottom and it only shines down, and a wraparound will wrap around the sides so that the light has the opportunity to wash, you know, the ceiling and move farther into the room on both sides. So we have a three lamp incandescent. 84 inches of finished floor. We have LED tape light. And the A tape light was mounted under wall cabinets. Front edge.
Paul, can I ask another question? It's Rebecca. I have a lot of them today. When it's above finished floor, can you reconfirm, is that to the base of the fixture or outlet, or to the center point of the fixture or outlet?
It's actually to the center point of the junction box.
Okay.
So when you are looking at, let's just talk about like a sconce fixture that hangs on the wall, right? When you are looking at that sconce fixture, that J box or junction box is usually somewhere in the middle of the fixture. It's not always at the very top of the fixture. It's not always at the very bottom. It's somewhere in the middle. So you need to determine where you want that J box to be for the contractor to mount that at the right height.
What about if it's a pendant and the J box is in the ceiling?
Okay, yeah. That what you want is you want to identify the low point of the fixture.
Okay.
When it's hanging.
Got it.
All right. Now,
are there industry standards as to like where a pendant should, you know, the lowest point of the pendant should be?
no, they're not. No. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to add is a single pole switch. So we have a whole bunch, right? We have a three-way switch with a dimmer. This is a three-way switch. This is a four-way switch. But what we're going to do is we're just going to identify just a generic unlabeled switch. So I will copy this one here. And turn off my ortho and move it right over here, more or less. And add some text. Oops. Single. At 42 inches above finished floor. And then we'll identify it here. So there's as above three-way. Second. Four. Four-way. D was the dimmer. Oops, peanut butter. So I just copying that and then dimmer. Oh, that slide. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of this guideline. And let's see how this looks in paper space. So I'll go back to my lighting plan. And who knows if this is going to fit. I probably won't at the first go, but we'll squeeze it in and make it work. So I'm going to create a viewport. So I can do make view, M view, or I can go over to my layout tab here. And I can go to under layout viewports, I can click rectangular. And I'm just going to click right in here. And I have a new viewport on my sheet.
Wait, you're in paper space. Are you supposed to do that in paper space or model space?
Paper space.
Okay.
Create the viewport? Is that, are you asking?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I created in paper space. So let me do it again. So I'm in paper space. Make sure that you're in paper here and not model space. And then go over to your layout tab on your ribbon. Go to rectangular. I'm going to do a rectangular viewport. And I'm just going to click here and create. It could be bigger, you know, it could be whatever you want, but I'm going to adjust it so it's right there. And I will pan and zoom and get this about where it belongs. Now, what I can do is I can set the I have the viewport selected, and just like you would do it before, we're going to select 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to click in that viewport. So I'm in model space and I have that viewport selected. And then with my mouse wheel pressed, I'm just going to move that legend right into place. Boy, I guess I did okay there. Now, another way you could do it, I'm just undoing here. And I'm purposely going to set the scale wrong, is we can go back to our home tab here, and with our friend here, match properties, I can click match properties. Now this viewport here is at 1/4 inch scale, right? And we want this viewport to be at 1/4 inch scale. And by the way, this viewport is on the electrical layer, so that would need to change to the viewports layer. We still have 1 or 2 people that are still not putting viewports on the right layer and locking the viewports. It's making me crazy. But anyway, so I'm going to click match properties and I will select this viewport, and then I can select this viewport. And what it did was it set this viewport to the viewport layer automatically. It matched the layer of the viewport, and it also matched the scale. And I know that by looking down here, the scale is at 1/4 inch equals a foot. So now the location of where it is in the viewport is a little bit wonky. So I'm just going to double click on it and just pan and get it where I want it. Now, if yours is too big, you know, yours might, you may have your text out here, or, you know, yours may be pushed out farther than mine. That's perfectly fine. So while you're here in this viewport, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I have it on the right layer and I have it at the right scale, and I'm going to lock it. Now, when I go in, and I can't pan or anything, but what I can do is I can move the items within the viewport and squeeze and pull and tweak and massage these so that the lighting legend fits within this viewport. If I don't like where this is located, I'll just go here. If I want to move this lighting legend closer to the border, I can just move the whole viewport over. Just like that, and then I can move that back there. So voila, we have a lighting legend. The reason that this is at 1/4 inch scale is so that we can, when the contractor is looking at this, he can look at these fixtures. This is like a little bit close here, so I'm gonna move that down a little bit, just make it a little more legible. Okay. So what we want are these symbols to be the same size as the symbols that are on our drawing. If you know, if this pendant fixture is you know, really big or too small, or is a different size than this, it could potentially be confusing. And it looks like I missed a line here, so let me just add that. With Edison. Oh, I see what I did. I'm not reading. Okay, that belongs with that. And then belongs there. So really, it's just about making it legible for the contractor. So the contractor knows exactly what each of these symbols means, and he can
So
build
does
the
it
space
matter?
the way you want it. Yes, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
So for mine, I don't know why, but the text like in the line third, like the row third, it doesn't fit properly. So I just pull it down a little bit instead of being on the top at the first row. Is that okay?
I'm sorry, Archer, could you repeat that? The text is,
So do you see how you like yours are going like straight in line from like the first row, the whole thing? But so I had to push mine down the third row. I had to push it down a little bit because it was going out of the
outside of the viewport.
yeah. So I just pull it down a little bit so there's more space there. So is that okay, or does it have to line up?
Well, all I'm asking,
Dollar sign or the switch.
all I'm asking is that it fit within this square.
Okay, but it doesn't matter if it's like a little bit up and down, right?
No,
Okay.
if it fits within this square or this rectangle in the title block, and it's legible to anyone reading it, a contractor or a client, then yeah, you're golden. You're fine.
Okay, thank you.
And then do we lock the viewport?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. That viewport should be locked right there.
Okay.
Mhm. So as soon as you get it at the right scale, lock your viewport. Just don't forget about it, please. Yes. So now we have two viewports, and hopefully both of them will be on the viewport layer, and both of them will be at the right scale, which is 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, and both of them will be locked.